If someone tried to kill me, do I have the right to defend myself? Everyone says yes immediately. And then the next question, what if I hurt him first before he actually does something, attacks? And suddenly, I don't think like no someone can be so sure anymore. It depends on whether the threat is happening right now or whether it's just something I'm afraid might happen eventually. Self defense protects you from the first, it doesn't protect you from the second. And that gap turns out to be like one of the most important lines in ethics. And almost, I don't think like nobody really thinks about this until they're forced to. So I started asking like if context just can justify killing someone. Does that mean it's never really about the action, just the story around it? And I don't think that's the case. That's true. Context always does, obviously does enormous work. Like it's the difference between calling the same act murder or self-defense, but it doesn't have like unlimited power. If it did, a creative work, like I mean, a creative enough story could justify anything. Like what context actually does is deciding which category an act falls into. It doesn't dissolve every boundary once you've picked one. Then I kind of pushed it further. What if it's not just me versus that one person, him, but my people versus his people? What if like he's raising an army specifically to wipe out everyone I love? Can't I strike him first then? And the answer is yes. Actually, if the threat is real and already in motion, that's called preemptive self defense. And it's justified for the same reason stopping someone mid attack is justified. But if it's just, I'm afraid what he might eventually do, no mobilization, no attack underway, just fear of an outcome, that's not preemptive anymore. It becomes preventive. And preventive violence has a specific problem with it. Like you're punishing someone for a crime they haven't committed yet based on your own prediction. You might be right, you might also be wrong. Like I predicted you'd hurt me is a lot weaker justification argument than you were already hurting me. What actually turns self-defense into something monstrous at any scale isn't the scale itself. It's it's usually two failures happening together. The threat stops being imminent and becomes uh, speculative, and the target stops being the actual danger and becomes an entire group of people who never did anything to you personally. Lose either one of those two, and you're not doing bigger self defense. You're just doing something that just borrows its language. That's also where I think understanding and justification kind of gets conflated. You can fully understand how someone become dangerous, the humiliation, the loss, the ideology they were stepped in, and still hold the complete moral verdict against them. Explanation was never an excuse. It just feels like one because empathy and forgiveness gets tangled together really well and like in our heads, and even when they shouldn't be. And underneath all of this was like it's a question that actually kind of unsettled me. What if the ruthless side just wins? What if the people willing to do anything conquer everyone who stayed principled and write the story itself after? I don't think winning proves you are right. I mean, obviously, if it did, right would just be a fancy word for one. And the world would stop measuring anything. But I also can't promise virtue wins. It doesn't. Nothing about ethics guarantee survival. The part is really genuinely unsettling, and I would rather sit in that honestly than pretend like morality comes with a guarantee it never really offered. Which brought me something personal. I don't live in a world that tests me like this. I get to be right and still thrive without ever finding out what I would actually do under real pressure. And that's something, but I mean, that's not something I earned. That's just pure luck. Like the person who's never really been tested and stayed good, and the person who was tested and broke might not differ in character at all, just in circumstance. But I don't think that luck erases everything either. It sets the starting conditions. It doesn't it doesn't play every move after that for you. Inside a safe, untested life, there are still a thousand small choices. Honestly, when a lie would be easier, restrain when you could get away with more. None of that is decided by where you were born. Gratitude for the circumstance and responsibility for what you do inside it aren't in conflict. Like they're just both true at once. I don't think what I would do if I were actually cornered. I mean, tested. Nobody does until it happens. Maybe that's just the honest place to live it. Most of us are. Most of us are only ever theorizing about our own integrity and calling it knowledge, which is another way of coping to feel like understand about this world through the lens of ethics and moral. That's about it in this video. Thank you for watching.